And I am live. Oh, now it's looking normal for me. Okay, guys, giving you a chance to come and join me. And while we're waiting, and for those of you who are coming from a replay, um, what was your biggest realization and learning? Hey, Ashley, the biggest realization from yesterday's live stream where I talked about the difference between force and power. So, what was your biggest takeaway from that, from yesterday? Um, how did you see the difference between force and power in your own life? So, um, yeah, so just giving people a chance here. So I'm going to start with a story here because this has a lot to do with, the money victim and the money warrior. So yesterday I bought an iMac, and since I bought that iMac, that desktop computer, as opposed to a laptop, I've had like a million tests because technology is awesome for testing you if you really mean you're going to be in your warrior spirit or not. So since that happened, and I, started setting up my new desktop, my website completely disappeared. It doesn't exist anywhere at all. It's just completely gone. That means I've lost access to my emails. The other thing that happened that everything Apple related, like Safari and the iPhone and the iPad, I can't log into my Google account on any of those. So thankfully I can do it on Chrome because otherwise I would have lost access to my Gmail account too. So it was kind of like um, it had the potential of really getting me stuck in the victim mode. It's like, oh, poor me that I have to spend like 12 hours, 24 hours being on, the chat and support and whatever and trying to figure it out. And I could have gone into total crisis mode, which is what the money victim does. And all my focus and energy, it actually did for a while, because I freaked out about this whole website thing because there was all these bogus charges made on my credit card through, through my website host. So it has like everything you would look for if you really wanted to have a major freak out and get distracted from making money. And the thing is, in my money warrior mode, I will not allow that to distract me from making money. So, yeah, those are things I have to deal with, but they don't have to encompass, you know, everything I am, everything I do. And even if it's time consuming, because these things just take time, so what? Even if I spent time dealing with this, remember what I said yesterday, right? It's like the warrior radiates or transmits the energy that is going to activate, people to give you their money, which is basically what sales are. People give you their money. Um, Whereas in the victim mode, if I'm in the money victim and I will apply force, there's push and pull going on. So if all my time and focus is going into dealing with that technology crisis, um, in the meanwhile, there is, well, that means that I'm not available to do the pushing and pulling, right? So that would mean if I try to make money from the money victim part, I wouldn't be able to because I would be pushing, pulling something else when I was dealing with the technology. So coming back into my money warrior mode, and it was really, really interesting to have this happen yesterday and also this morning. Right after I talked about, the force versus power yesterday, because I could really see it in action. It's like really see it in action because when technology things comes up, I go into push mode. I want it fixed now, and it's not going to work. So the warrior, I just come back, I do the things that needs done, but I stand still in my power. And I'm so powerful that I can fix technology issues. So I just want to mention that also. So today I wanted to talk about um, how it's necessary to make decisions first as a way to activate the warrior's power to create money. So I had somebody, I was on a Facebook chat about somebody joining my Money Warrior program. And she said, I don't like not paying my bills or keeping my financial commitments. So, therefore, because she didn't have extra money sitting in her account, she chose not to do it. So, the way a money victim thinks is I can't do something until I have the cash sitting after I have paid everything else and fulfilled all my financial obligations to pay for it. And it's awesome when you have it, but most of us, this is not where we start at all. We have to start by making the decision that we are going to do this, and we will do whatever it takes to find the money to do it. and and it works. It works. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why that works so much. There's the activation of the warrior's energy that goes out and affects the environment so that the money comes to you. But there's a different way of understanding it too. So the reason why visualization and affirmation, especially visualization, is a thing, is because the brain is incapable of knowing what's true and what's a lie. It can't tell the difference between a factual truth and a fantasy truth or a virtual truth. Both of them have equal validity in your mind, in your brain. And of course, it's like there's a bad side and a positive side to it. So the bad side is when you believe that you're a money victim and not a money warrior, meaning when you believe, because this is what the lie your mind tells you, is that you don't have the power to make as much money as you want. Whereas the factual truth is that you do have all that power. Hi, Dalida. I was wondering if you were going to come on. So it's like the mind is like the mind, your brain is incapable, your mind is incapable of distinguishing between factual truth and virtual truth. And this is the thing that you actually use when it comes to manifesting money, creating money, which is what the warrior does. And which is why decision comes first. So at one point I had this like phrase running through my mind. It's like, it is not that decision follows money, but that money follows decision. So when decision follows money, you're going to base on everything that has happened in the past, and that's like true for your current life. So your decisions are based on the past and the present, and not what is possible in the future after this moment right now. So, which is why, as I say, I need to fulfill my financial obligations before I pay, because inherent in that is I don't believe I can make the money to pay for them if I, for my financial, to pay my financial commitments. If I take that money and use it to something else, I'm going to end up in a crisis because I don't have money for both. So the where was I going? So when you have, yes, money follows decision. Thank you. So it's like, it is safe, right? It's like you don't take a risk if you if you make your decisions based on what amount of money you have sitting in your account, because it is a closed container in terms of possibility. You can't have a different future. So in that thing, it's like you just have different versions of the past, because you can't imagine stepping out of what is into something completely brand new, which is what a money warrior does all the time. It's like the comfort zone, right? It's like the bravery, the courage of the warrior to go new places into, the unknown, which is a lot of money. But you don't know that's going to happen until you're already doing it. So when you base your decision on what money you have now, it's greater you have the extra money to do it. If you don't have to do it, you're screwed, because you're never, ever, ever gonna get out of that little closed container where there's no way out, because you're playing it safe with your money, which is what a money victim does. It's like keeps you stuck. So you want to reverse it so that you make the decision first and then the money follows that. So yesterday I talked about how the money warrior transmits energy. And that energy, stand still, transmits the energy, and that energy activates money to come towards you. What activates that energy is the decision you make that you will have XYZ in your life. So for those of you working with shadow alchemy, it's of course the lover's desire, sovereign decree. But really, even what a desire is, like a desire that activates, a decree that activates, it's a decision you make. It's a decision you make. It is really, really, really that simple. You just say, I want this, and I will make it happen. And it's going to be that way. And then that's it. It's like, because the warrior, remember, the warrior takes a stand for something. So if there's nothing for the warrior to stand for, the warrior's energy is still going out, but it's diluted, where it's unspecific, or, it's going all over the place, rather than having a laser focus towards the thing that, hey, warrior, can you bring me this? Can you manifest this for me with your actions? So it's you need to know what you want beyond doubts, beyond anything. Do I deserve it? Am I capable of making it happen, or whatever? It all comes down to, I want it just because I want it, and I will get it. And if you think about it, I'm sure you have had this happen in your life, when you have just decided you're going to do something and you made it happen. Even if there was no logical reason why you should be able to make it happen, you still did. And whether that was a manifestation, well, it was a manifestation or something, because every time you change the universe, it's a manifestation. So that includes what you want. So, and this is where a lot of people stumble, right? It's like they think they want, but what they really do is that they like the idea of it, right? And the money has a million desires, it's like, oh, good ideas, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. This is what, we are bombarded with, all these wonderful things in the world that we could be part of. So the brain is like this, 1,000 monkeys that are just jumping all over. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. New toy, new shiny bright object. So what I learned to do, it was like really learn to tap into, what do I really, 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 really want? And I don't talk about chakras so much, but coming back and talking about chakras, your desires and your power to create a world, the power to create life, which is really, what, the sexual chakra governs. It's like the power of the creator. And the power of creator can create something out of nothing. So you are encoded with the most important desires in your second chakra. It's already there. So you just have to find it. So I started looking into my belly, actually. It's like I was kind of bent my head and looked down on my belly rather than, oh, so what do I want? Because it's not floating up there, it's inside of you in your second chakra. So I started tapping into this. It's like, what is it that I truly desire? And once I knew that, it's like, then it's like these desires, they have such an energetic or emotional importance to them. You just know they're true. And if you don't go after those desires, you will forever regret it. Right? So it's like those big things. And it's the big things that, activates the warrior. I mean, the warrior is not, when it comes to making money, it's like the warrior likes a challenge, right? It's like needs something juicy to activate him and rally the troops, because you don't rally the army just to go and clean the bathroom. No, you rally the army when you're really going to go into like a big thing and make sure it's going to come out right. So, and the warrior, of course, is also the general of the army. So the decision has to come first. And I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. It's like when I decide I want this, the money will come one way or another. It's not always me making it directly from my uh, business. I mean, sometimes it comes in different ways. It comes as a gift or it comes different ways. But the money will be there, and sometimes I have to work for it. Other times it comes easily. But either way, it is my decision that activates the warrior to bring that to me, to start transmitting the energy, the power with laser, with a laser beam focus. So it comes back to, do you really want it? Do you really want it? Because if you're very, very clear on you wanting this and you're willing to do what it takes to make it happen, which is why we always activate, and I want this, and it's like, I go like, I'm going to get 100,000 K in cash this month and I'll do whatever it takes. No matter what. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how many hours I'm going to work. I don't care if I'm going to lose my website. I don't care what, right? I will make 100,000 K cash this month. And that decision, that I am determined, I will make it happen. There's just no way this is not going to happen. You feel my decision, how powerful my decision is? That's what's activating the warrior, so that the energy starts transmitting. And then the warrior is going to respond, it's going to receive all these inspired ideas, a lot of thinking outside the box. A lot of times it's like, as I mentioned yesterday, it's like there's no way I can figure out rationally, logically, reasonably, realistically figuring out how I'm going to have the 100K cash this month, but I will get them. I will get them, but I have no idea how. So as a warrior, as a money warrior, I stop trying to figure out how to do it, because that would be based on panic and desperation and, oh my God, if I want this, I have to figure out how to do it. And I come back and I know I will receive inspirations on what to do to get it, because my soul knows I want the 100,000 K, and my soul is going to tell me the exact steps to take to get there. So for me, going back to my new iMac desktop, my desktop computer, it was so incredibly important for me and my 100K months that I actually went and bought this computer yesterday. And then, I get my test right away. But that was a total up level for me. And that was important, right? It's like, just kept, Gita, you have to go and buy it. Gita, you have to go and buy it. Gita, you have to go and buy it. And I might never know exactly why that is, but I do know the energetic importance of going and, spending whatever $3,000 on it, that was what was needed at this point, in order for me to activate even more of my warrior's power to generate the 100K cash. So Dalita, if you guys have questions, just let me know. So Dalita, when I decide the money will come, this is a truth rant, right? Depends on how you say it. It can either be an affirmation or a truth rant. Um, so it is more like the warrior, how to say it? A warrior doesn't ask, the warrior commands. Or you can say, the sovereign commands, but for our intents and purposes, it's like the warrior is both the soldier, the foot soldier that obeys the instructions, go and get me this thing, but the warrior is also the general of the army that commands this to come into place. So it's both the command and the actions together, right? But it's the command. The money will be here. So yes, so it could also be an affirmation, which is more like a plea or a begging or a longing for or a wish expressed, but it doesn't have the ring of command in it. So I want to come back and talk again about how the brain can distinguish between factual reality and virtual reality. So what happens when we make this decision? When I decide I'm going to have 100,000K cash months, it's like my brain, even if it doesn't already exist, because my brain can't tell the difference between factual truth and virtual truth, it say, oh, the 100,000K must already exist. No, they're already there. So what happens is that there is a tension created between the factual reality and the decision I have made that is actually a new reality. So old reality or the present reality and the new reality. This is the thing about visualization. It's like when you really do it this way, the visualization works. So present reality, new reality. Present reality doesn't have 100,000 cash in it. New reality does. So there is a discrepancy. And now your brain, your mind is incapable of holding two truths at the same time. So I have two choices. I can take the old, the present one, or I can take the new. Which one do I want to have as truth? So if I can hold this tension, like this discrepancy, so nature will always seek to resolve tension. I hope this is not going to be a thumbnail. I'm going to put it over here. It looks better if this is a thumbnail that Facebook chooses. Nature will always seek to resolve tension. So naturally, when you keep this tension between what is and what you want to be, this is your decision. It's not just a wish, it's decision. This will be. You have two choices. You can change your present reality into the new one, or you can let go of this one, right? Now, which one do you think is a money warrior and which one do you think is a money victim? The money victim does this, gives up. The money warrior rises to the occasion, right? It is really that simple. Money victim gives up. It's never going to work. I've tried so many times. I've proved, and I expect it to fail again. It's like I really want this, but it has never worked before. I prove, so I'm only going to try halfway, half-assed, because I don't really believe I can do it. I don't really believe I have the power to do it. And you're right back where you are, or further down. Whereas the money warrior says, I will get this, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. And I will put up the power, and I will do the strength, and I will do, take the actions needed, no matter how uncomfortable and scary as hell they are, I will get there. Okay? So energetically, so it's like there's different ways of explaining to you why it's so important that decision has to come first in order to activate the warrior's power to make money. Another way of looking at it is like when you make a decision, like this will happen, this will be. Um, it's a decision you make on such a level that it changes your energy field. So you all know that what is in your energy is what is coming to you back as a physical reality, as a 3D reality. It's just a reflection of your energy codes. So when you make that decision, it writes new codes. Decision is upgrade your codes, rewrite your energetic codes, whatever, so that you're sending out different energy. Or you become, it's like let me put it this way, you become someone different. And when you become somebody different, when the decision is made that this will be, and there's no way it's not going to be because you're not going to allow it to not be, that's when the universe rearranges itself to mirror the new version of yourself back to you. Right? It's the money warrior. The money warrior rewrites the energetic codes from a decision so that when the energy that's being transmitted carries these new energy codes that says, bring me X amount of money. And it can also be different things. Another it's like a very concrete example of this is years and years and years ago, like 20 years ago, I was working as a massage therapist. And I was doing it in Iceland. It was my first year back in Iceland after 7 years away from Iceland. And Icelanders are like the Mediterranean people, right? They're always late. Time is like kind of flexible, mutable whenever you feel like it. And I just get really, really tired of waiting for them to show up like 10, 15, 20, half an hour late for the sessions. So one day I just decided this is it. I'd rather do anything else. I'm just not gonna, I'm not available for people showing up late for their appointments anymore. And it was not a thought, it was not a wish. I decided that this was going to be my new reality. Either they come on time or I'm done being a massage therapist. And what happened next is like because my energy changed, I rewrote my energy code, so I transmitted different energy. It's like ever since, and that goes back, to 1998 or 1999. People are either on time or a little bit early, or they are late only if I really need them to. That was from that one decision that rewrote me. I changed so that something else got reflected back to me. So let me see here. Yonana says, after having decided that I'm going to be in Gita's program, one thing that helped me a lot and I felt making a huge difference in my energy, I felt it cleared a lot of shadow just by doing it. I decided who I am and who I am and who I don't want to be. When the storms are coming my way, it lifted a huge shrug on my chest and it gave me more freedom to be me. Yeah, exactly. The leader, how do you know the differences between victim bully and the warrior? Because the victim bully is applying force. There is an element of convincing in it. It's an element of forcing something to happen. The warrior just is. The warrior just knows. And to super activate your money warrior over the long term, you will have to do the shadow alchemy to clear the shadow. But a ton of stuff you can do right now, because this was how I started, right? It's like before I knew shadow alchemy or anything, I could flip into my money warrior accidentally and spontaneously without me not knowing how I got there. But I did get there. And I could make a lot of money that way. And then I lost it again because I had no clue what I was doing. It was like my unconscious incompetence there. So the difference between the victim bully and the warrior, the victim bully is, you know, forcing things to happen. So I this is actually a great place to talk about that. You know, I was wondering if I was going to spare it for another video, but there's making happen and there's letting happen. Making happen, letting happen, and manifestation requires both. Right? It's the actions and detachments from the results, and letting the magic. You know, it's like letting the universe do its work also. Making room. I don't know if you have heard the saying, but the journey of a, you know, like to manifest something, you have to take the first action, and then God takes the next 1,000 actions. But you have to take the first action, and then the universe, you know, makes the next thing happen for you. So it's always this balance between making happen and letting happen. So the money victim will go too far in either extremes. So the money victim can become too much into letting it happen, which is what the law of attraction tends to encourage you to do. It's like sit down and believe. So it becomes too passive and not taking the actions, because they're going to be too uncomfortable, and the victim doesn't like to be uncomfortable and doesn't want to be in imposition, calling up people, could you give me a loan, whatever. It's like the victim hates that stuff. The victim really, the money victim hates that, hates asking for help. Whereas a money warrior will say, okay, I need some money right now. Okay, who do I know that I could ask to help me with the money? And I don't care how uncomfortable I'm going to feel, I'm still going to do it because I want this. And I will do whatever it takes. I'll be rude and impolite and an imposition and inconvenience people. And I don't care if people judge me for it. I want this more than people's approval of me. The victims, when they go into the victim bully, they go too far into making things happen. Right? It's like the force. Then they start applying force. And what happens when you apply force is force is an attempt at controlling the future. So when you want to control the future because you don't trust that your still power is enough to make it happen for you. So when I say still power, it's not actionless, but it's a power. It's like the power still is just transmitting energy. Like force is like interaction, push-pull between objects. So the victim bully is about forcing something to happen, which is an attempt of controlling how things will be in the future. And it doesn't work, because then you close the door on magic. And I say magic, but it really isn't magic. But the thing you desire can't come. It's like you're trying to control it to happen a certain way, when what you want is maybe coming from over here, but it can't get in because you have closed the door to everything that's coming from outside, you know, this very narrow funnel you have created. Whereas the warrior is open from it coming from all directions, which is why the warrior stands still and just transmits energy. That is totally laser focused with intention and the creator's will, But where it's coming from specifically, the warrior doesn't control. So I hope this makes a lot of sense to you, the leader. Okay, yes. So coming back to the letting happen and making happen. I remember thinking in the past, it's like a walking like a razor blade edge. It's like too much making happen, I go into forcing and controlling the future. Too much letting happen, I become too passive, and I can't hold this. The tension that I talked about before. Amal, how do you make it happen without force when you need urgent money within 24, 48 hours? That's always the challenge, isn't it? Isn't it? So, when you have done everything you can think of doing, you relax and have fun. Rather than, go on, it's like the desperation and frustration and all that stuff. You just go, I've done everything I know how to do, because this is what the warrior does, right? The money warrior does everything, everything that he knows how to do in order to win the war. And if that's not enough, it's not certain of the outcome, he takes a nap, he gets something to eat, he goes practice, he cleans his sword, whatever it is. So, two things, Amal. Do act on every single idea that come into your mind, even the ones that makes you feel the most uncomfortable. And when you have done all of that, it's not in your hands anymore. Now you have to wait for it to come back to you from the universe. And I can say that with great confidence because I have been in that situation. I mean, it's like there was a time in my life when I was extremely poor. I was a single sick mother on welfare. And I had come to the end of the month. I was like, not a long time ago, I told this story, probably in my Conquer Your Codependence challenge. And I had only enough gas on my car to get to the closest gas station. I had only lentils and onions in my house for me and my 5-year-old son to eat. I couldn't call anybody. I could receive phone calls, but because I was late on my phone bill, I couldn't call out. And there was nothing I could think of doing. And I just said, that's it. I've done everything. Now I'm just going to sit here and enjoy life until something happens. So I just let go of all fear. I just let go of all fear because I had done everything I knew how to happen. If God wanted me to stay alive, if God wanted me and my son to not starve to death, well, he had to do something. So that was my thinking at that time. What I realize now is that, like a warrior, I took all the actions I knew how to, and then I waited. I didn't wait for, I waited with. Knowing that I was willing to take absolute every single action that would come to my mind, I just waited with. There's a big difference between waiting for and waiting with. And a lot of the time, as a money warrior with your goal, it's like for me to get to the 100,000K cash this month, which is I have no idea how I was going to get there, right? So I just say, okay, so what am I going to do next? Do this. What am I going to do next? And then I do that. And, then the idea for this Money Warrior series came up and said, okay, I'm going to do this. I had no idea when I launched the series what I was actually going to end up talking about. And I don't know what I'm going to talk about, the next 3 calls. But it always comes because as a warrior, I know it will be there because I create the cash, and it means I will discover what I need to do in order to create that cash. And the other thing I do, I really, really watch myself from not going into the money victim. I haven't sold anything today. Oh my God, I'm not going to reach 100K cash. And so maybe I do, maybe I don't. If I don't get it this month, I'll get it next month. I will make 100K cash in a month. And if I don't get it this month, no matter how much I try, I haven't lost the war. I'm still in the fight, and I go back and I continue because I will get there. Rather than, oh, but it didn't happen last month and it didn't happen this month and I've never done it before and I don't know how. That's the thinking of a money victim. I don't care. I want this. And therefore it will be because I am the ultimate absolute authority of my life. I decide what happens in my life. And what I say goes. And when I say 100,000 cash in my life, that's what will be. Okay, so the pattern of your life, the leader, you should really consider coming into my Money Warrior program. Andrea, to find the motivation in making it happen, letting it happen is what I'm working at the moment. Yes. And the money victim has no idea how to do that, would always go bounce between the extremes. The money warrior has the poise of standing at the focal point, the epicenter of making happen and letting happen. Okay, so you guys have any questions? Otherwise, I believe I'm done for the day. And I will be back Monday, 2.5 hours later than yesterday and today at 6:30 Central European Time with number 3, Tuesday number 4, and Wednesday number 5. And if you want to learn how to be a money warrior, to bring in a lot of money in your life, come and join my Money Warrior program. It is gonna kick your ass. If you are, here's the clinch, here's the deal. If you are really sick and tired of being a money victim, you need to get into the Money Warrior program because I am gonna kick your ass, as I said. Okay, see you on Monday.